welcome to the Virginia State Capitol, located in Richmond, Virginia. Today we're going to be exploring the history of Virginia State Capitol's interior and exterior architecture and decorative styles and preservations of the Classical Revival era. Let's get started. As the neoclassical style was introduced to America, the construction of the Virginia State Capitol sparked the manifestation of the Classical Revival style. In 1785, as Thomas Jefferson was serving as the American ambassador in France, he was asked on behalf of the Richmond authorities to design Virginia's new capital. In wanting to eschew from the prevalent provincial English Georgian style, he wanted the capital to stand out in its architecture.
Now, he was at the time in France. Jefferson was then serving as the United States ambassador to France. So Thomas Jefferson faced this building that we're in now on this ancient Roman temple in southern France, called Maison Carrée. It's an almost 2,000-year-old Roman temple, still standing in Nîmes, France, southern France. So in France, he hired a model maker named Jean-Pierre Fouquet to make a model of his capital for the over here, in this case on the right, is the very model made by Fouquet in Paris in the late 18th century and shipped at that time to Richmond. As it happened, every time they painted the exterior of the Capitol building, they painted a model. And they made a discovery several years ago, and that was that underneath all the outer layers of white paint of this model, they found other colors. I think the word is, see it, on that back wall there, they have now revealed the strip of each of those colors that they discovered. Tan, gray, beige, gradations of that. So that was a great document for the architectural historians that they made that discovery. They also x-rayed this several years ago, and they found through the x-rays that there's more detail on this than you could see with the naked eye because of all the thick paint on it. So based on x-ray findings, they made the modern copy over there that shows the very detail, which is on the original, but which you can't see because of all the thick paint.
Made of plaster, iron, and poplar, the original model is covered with as many as 15 layers of paint, and in the most recent conservation of the model, paint schemes from the 18th century were uncovered. Diligent in making certain that the building of the Capitol would be executed based on his ideas, Jefferson's design and model were delivered to the United States. However, the foundation deviated from his ideas as workers had laid out too large of a foundation before the documents had arrived. Builders also raised the first floor, which led to the exclusion of the ceremonial steps leading to the south-facing portico. The first American government building to be called a Capitol took 3 years of construction. Construction used both free and enslaved labor, skilled and unskilled workers, as well as local and traveling artisans, some of whom traveled north to work on the United States Capitol. As a marriage of a Roman temple, the Capitol is situated on top of a major hill, which at that time could be seen from the city and was faced toward the James River. Surrounded by the cast iron fence, the four-leveled building is constructed of brick and covered with stucco. These 8 Ionic columns that are 4 feet tall contain the original pine tree center posts. Its roof resembles Roman architecture with a pediment temple style, but the gabled A-line roof is not what is seen from the inside. As expected, entering the Hall of Presidents, there is a dome with a skylit rotunda. Directly above the life-size statue of George Washington, much like the walls and ceilings of these great rooms surrounded the rotunda are designs of classical revival and federal style motifs with bright painted colors. As the rotunda is not part of Jefferson's initial designs, it was important to employ modern architectural vocabulary and a different palette of materials. As intended by the initial designs of Mr. Jefferson, repairs, upgrades, and add-ons of the landmark are made possible. Some of these ornamental designs have been revealed to the primary look of the Capitol, while some that are added on are more modern selections, while still reflecting finished touches of the classical revival era. To preserve any works done in the 18th century, changes are voted in by authorities and design consultancy who specialize in historical preservations. In wanting the original construction to be recognized as Jefferson's designs, new designs have been critically incorporated to align with the primary build, but also be acknowledged as additions. In the many renovations the building has gone through, original finishes have been uncovered, including wall and door paints. For example, during the renovation of the east and west wings of the Capitol, builders discovered the original primary use entrance doorway, which they left exposed for the enjoyment of visitors. Another great example of how the Capitol has been preserved are the original desks in both the House and Senate chambers, which are still in use. To recognize the Federal-style period, Virginian patriotism is appreciated through the application of dogwoods on carpets, doorknobs, light fixtures, and ceilings. These decisions are not made lightly, as every primary part of the Capitol is seen as a historical monument. Thus, in preserving each ornamental finish, they are examined and documented for future research. On my visit to the Virginia Capitol, I had the pleasure of interviewing Mrs. Susan Clark Sharr, who is the Clerk of Senate. Mrs. Sharr has been involved in the material selection process of the Capitol's renovation since she began her career in 1974. As we explore the Capitol, Sharr points out how the Capitol's authorities have gone to great lengths to preserve the original works of the Capitol.
It was always very dark. They had chandeliers in here that were not very attractive. So in comes the lighting expert consultant, and with his catalogs from 1904, 06, and we picked out a design on the base of one photograph, and these were made by a very small factory in Franklin, Virginia. And the brass part has dogwoods on it, and when you get to the chambers, the globes have dogwoods etched into them that we had to send to Czechoslovakia to get the etching done, because nobody here did it, but they didn't know what a dogwood was.
Yeah.
So then we had to send them pictures with dogwoods. They are pretty. In 1904, 1906. And in the black squares you can find fossils. So the school children love to get down on their hands and knees and start looking for fossils. Later, that was installed. And we did not know that this frame was there. And we took down the wall, and lo and behold, they had built the wall around the frame. And this elevator was the only one in the building for a while, and it was run by a gentleman. He was the operator. And so you get on, tell him which floor you wanted to go to, and he'd take you up there. So we had to decide whether we were going to keep it or tear it out. And we decided to keep it. And we've had, I think people are so fascinating. We've had people ask for the design because they want to build a railing at their house just like this. But it's pretty cool when you stand here and look up. This is the old house chamber. This carpet is designed from the 1920s, and they had found a photograph of it, and they had it remade, and it's been patented. I don't know if anyone has ever bought any of it, but, and I was the only one left here who knew that. And these two chairs were where Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip sat when they came and visited in here with some school children. That's a copy of the speaker's chair. The original chair is in Williamsburg. Virginia did a swap so they could have the chair that was the speaker's chair in Williamsburg. It's on permanent. And if I remember correctly, these desks go back to 1920s. There was a mayoral race in Richmond that was very contested, and it ended up in court, which was on the 3rd floor, right above us. And they had like 300 people packed in the courtroom. It collapsed all the way from the 3rd floor down to the 1st floor. And 60-some people were killed. Then they had to decide, well, what are we going to do? It's 1870s, right after Civil War. They didn't have any money.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to tear it down, or are we going to try to restore it? And the decision was made to restore it. Thank goodness.
Because of the diligence in preserving these historical structures, future styles of architecture and designs have and continue to be influenced by the primary building that established the classical revival style.